I wish I had some kind of cool intro music, but I don't have any cool intro music yet. But I plan on getting some. I think for now, I pretty much have this. In the military, you're given a uniform. That's my intro for all my podcasts. I have it actually right here on my Roadcaster. And tonight I wanted to test out my new eCam platform that I can stream off of, but also do a lot of different things like use this template and I can switch it to different templates if I have other guests on here as well and use it for different things like screen share. But at any rate, I thought this would be a great testing ground for me to do this. So thank you for checking it out. And also let me know what you think of this template. If you think I should change it, if you think it sucks, be honest. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I did take a lot of time and effort to do this. So don't hurt my feelings too bad. But at any rate, I want to be able to see the comments. And all I see is a thumbs up. So whoever gave that to me, thank you so much. I can't see who's online right now. But comment, let me know what you think about this template. Also, to check these out, I have these other templates that I made from scratch on Canva, and I had to figure out how to put all this stuff on here. So this is the solo one where I'm just on here by myself. By the way, if you get a chance, check out my website, www.themorningformation.com. Actually just got that set up as well. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out because that's what we do. So this is if I have a guest. This is if there's 3 guests. And this is screen share. I got all the kinks worked out. Earlier I was having issues with getting the actual screen to fit inside of the screen over here. So the cool thing is I like how my monitor is actually right here. So it makes it look like I'm actually looking at, I guess it doesn't. It makes me look like I'm looking away from it. So just wanted to share with you really quickly how I go about doing the audio portion of the podcast that I've been teaching myself for the last 7-8 months. It's been quite a journey. So I decided out of everything else that everyone uses out there to use Hindenburg Pro. I really like this overall interface. It's easy to use because it's lateral. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute when I actually put the audio on. So this is an early audio that this was probably my second interview that I've ever done, aside from my own dad early on, to talk about military service. And this was with Joey Mack. He's from the Mobile Cigar Lounge out of New Jersey. Really cool business. He's a veteran, Marine Corps veteran, who now runs a business with other veterans, and they do mobile cigar events. They also bring in spirits as well with the cigars. It's really cool. They're nationwide. They've traveled everywhere. I actually almost ran into them when I was in Las Vegas last year. Almost got a chance to meet up with them, but the timelines didn't match. So this is one of my early interviews that I've done. This was early on. I was going by the podcast name Papa Kilo. It's my KP spelled backwards. For those of you know me, it's KO, right? So, but at any rate, so as you see here, like this top one is actually my audio. All right. Welcome to the Morning Formation. I'm your host, Papa Kilo, and today we are very fortunate. So what I typically will do is I'll take both of these different tracks, and because he's not saying anything in this one, I'll just cut it down. I don't know if he says anything there. I have to actually listen to it. So if you haven't done audio before, this is kind of cool to break up your tracks like this, only because if I have some kind of noise in my background, I can actually cut it out. And you'll hear the transition right here. So thank you, Mr. Joey Mack. I appreciate you joining us today.
No, thank you so much for having us, Papa Kilo. Really appreciate it. And yeah, as long as the morning formation doesn't include PT or a run or any physical things, we're good to go.
You know what? That's going to be my. So if I really wanted to get fancy with it and there was like any kind of background noise, say on his end, I could just cut this out right here. And I just love the way Hindenburg has this entire lateral layout. It makes everything so clear. You can use, there's different programs out there that are free. And then you also have things like GarageBand that comes on the Apple system already. I tried all those and they just weren't for me. I just did not like the way the interface worked. I didn't like how I had to edit and cut things out. So Hindenburg, you do have to pay some money for it, for the actual license. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's going to work best for you and whatever it is that you're doing. My podcast host and assistant, Avi, he likes to use DaVinci as far as editing videos and whatnot. And I tried it last night. I didn't have much luck with it. I'll give it another shot, but really thinking about using Apple Motion instead. He'll probably kill me because it's another thing that you had to pay a little bit of a fee for. But use whatever works best for you. For me, Hindenburg was awesome. And so you can see all these little spikes in here. This might have been when he was coughing or whatever, or I was coughing. You can cut all that stuff out. That's what's so great about separating your audio when you're doing this. So this is just an example of how it all starts out. And then I would just go through the entire audio of this podcast. And this is just strictly the audio. This isn't even the video part. I think it's really important for you to, I've worked with other podcasters, spoke to other podcasters out there. And one of the things that a lot of them, they all have different strategies. So some people are trying to be the first. They're trying to be the first to get as many guests and interviews as possible in the span of a year. And it's not so much about quality. And for me, I've only been podcasting and publishing every other week versus every week. And that's because I believe in putting out great quality. If your ears are the only thing that's going to be ingesting whatever it is that I'm putting out, then I want to make sure that it's going to be the best quality sound possible, because it's not like you're taking in any visuals and you're also listening to audio at the same time. So I can't see. If you're on right now and you get a chance, can someone make a comment so I can see if it actually will show up on here? Just say what's up or whatever, because I'm testing out this new system that I have as far as doing screen sharing and everything. But I just wanted to show everyone basically what I go through, what I have been going through whenever I edit a podcast. And this is how it all starts out. It's literally 2 giant blue audio ribbons, sometimes 3 if the co-host is on. And if you notice too, once I'm done with this completely, if you've listened to any of my podcasts before, one of the things that I like to do is while I'm actually going through and editing this, what I will do is, let me show you. I will, because I don't always have pen and paper on me, I like to use the notes section of my phone, and I'll actually do like little timestamps on there. And so I know with notes that these timestamps are basically where I can go and I can pull small clips. At the beginning of my podcast, I like to put a hook in there. And so I'll show you an example of that right now. So I'm going to close this out. Actually, I think I can just open a new one from here. I don't want to save it. It's still not showing any comments. Okay, so I'll show you an example here. So there's a few on here that haven't been released yet, but let me show you. So this is Magda. She is a Iraq War veteran, and she runs a perfume line. So on this specific one right here, I have all the audio up here between Magda and myself and Avi. It's all up here at the very top. down here, I decided to add in some music. So what I did was I took out a clippet of
and opportunities for active duty, veterans, military spouses, and children.
That, it was hard. And I guess maybe being a female soldier as well, who had been in combat operations at that time, all of these elements, it just kind of, it was hard to really connect with people. So, because there weren't many of us around. So separating from the pack was challenging, and trying to,
So
obviously anybody who's served at war, like yourself, you come back home, your priorities have been realigned for sure, and
so this is
you've
just
changed
a clip
as
that
a
I pulled
person.
out,
Not
and I put
in a
it
bad
in the
way,
very
but
beginning as like a hook.
it's
That's my
a
style.
big adjustment for sure.
I actually listened to a few different podcasts, and I like the way that kind of brought people in initially in the beginning to maybe keep them listening more and more. So I try to pick the best clip that I can based off of my editing. Sometimes Avi edits these. He does a lot of editing, actually. So I'll have to take whatever he gives me, and then from there, I'll pull that clip out and throw it in the front, along with the Powered by Act Now Education. And if you don't know, Act Now Education, their symbol is in the far corner there. It looks like a time clock with red and blue. Act Now Education is a free organization to join. If you know anybody that's in the military, have them go to www.actnoweducation.com and sign up, because what it is it's an organization founded and ran by military veterans. They typically will go out and they will speak to businesses such as Coursera, SkillBridge, With You, With Me, and get information and sometimes create these opportunities for veterans and military spouses to take advantage of educational certifications and things like that are outside of what the VA is offering. So don't even tap into your VA when it comes to getting your project management certification. There's an organization out there called DOL Coach. I just did an interview last week with one of their executives talking about how much growth they've had over the last year. Anyone that knows anything about project management, PMI, for example, the Project Management Institute, that institute in itself, it's great. It's gone unrivaled since it started in the 80s. And DOL Coach is another option that you have out there if you're interested in getting a project management certification. And I love the way that they do things. They work with Act Now Education, so there's opportunities to get almost free certification training. But the best thing I like about them, and what makes them so unique, and I'm kind of getting off track here, but if you know anyone in the military, please let them know about DOL Coach. Please let them know about Act Now Education. The thing I like about DOL Coach is that they look at your experience and they look at your resume, and then from there they decide what level of certification you're at that time. So that's kind of different than, it's a lot different than what PMI does, which they basically will give you books, give you study material, and then from there you have to take a test, do all that stuff. No, like they don't care about your experience, what you've already done. You might have already checked the block on a lot of that stuff based off of where you're at in your own career. But DOL Coach does it backwards. They actually want to know who you are, what you've already done, check off certain things, and then know, hey, you're at this level, basic level. You're at the next level above basic, or whatever the case is. So you'll sit down with one of their counselors for about an hour, and they'll go through your resume and ask you certain questions to figure out where you're at. Really cool. Really cool. A lot of people don't know about that kind of stuff, but if you're into certifications and getting educational stuff, it's great. So I get off the beaten path, but Act Now Education, bottom corner of the screen there, go to actnoweducation.com, sign up for their stuff if you're a military veteran or a military spouse or even an independent, or a dependent, not independent, dependent. So yeah, so back to this. All right, so I'll typically add this hook in here and add in the intro, the Powered by Act Now Education. The intro that you hear, which is this, that is actually placed in there with Buzzsprout automatically, something that I've been working on for some time now. So that's what I typically do whenever I, create a podcast after editing it. This is one that I just did Just finished it up tonight. So I typically like to leave all three separated. So right here, it's time for formation. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're very fortunate to have a guest who is an Army veteran, a published author, a self-proclaimed veteran mentor, an actor, and is currently serving as a senior director of veteran services for his company. Most importantly, and the reason that we have him is to discuss the trends and the pulse of what's happening today. My computer's bandwidth is like going crazy right now. It's not used to having so many screens up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find on the notes here. I know that in 1904, our guest here, John, talks about veterans. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that. There it is. I already cut it out. So I already cut this out. So I'm taking this right here. Let me double check.
And we need to start preparing and think.
Yep. That's what I want. So copy. This is the tricky part because I already have everything lined up. The 3 lines of audio ribbon lined up. Now I have to take the Powered by Act Now Education intro, and I slam that in here, right here. Or if I wanted to, I could put it all the way down here, I guess. Then I could just move everything to the right. Just kind of depends, I guess, what you want to do. Maybe I'll do that. Another option is to put it down here. And from here, if I mute these lines here, we can listen to the Powered by Act Now Education intro.
This episode is powered by Act Now Education. Go to www.actnoweducation.com for free comprehensive educational resources and opportunities for active duty, veterans, military spouses, and children.
So I put all this in post. Then I'm going to put in here so this is the audio, the clip that I'm going to use as a hook in the beginning. So this is the tricky part is because I have to take this and then I just slam it up here. There it is. So from here, the problem that I've run into is I have to move everything to the right now. And so getting everything lined back up again is a challenge in itself. But I can do it. Just kind of eyeball it, I guess. So I'm going to move this out this way. Give myself a little space there because I'm going to put music in here as well. Then I'm going to take this. I'm going to move it out this way. And then I'm going to take John's responses. And I'm going to move it out this way. There it is. And I can kind of, from here, I can move it back if I need to. So now, this is what it's going to sound like. I kind of moved everything around. And I've actually taken audio before. When people go out of sequence when they're saying something, I'll typically take the audio and I'll move it to where it's I guess, within sequence, and it makes a little more sense. It's challenging to do because then you're having to cut people's words. I have to take that off, take that off. There we go.
This episode is powered by Act Now Education. Go to www.actnoweducation.com for free comprehensive educational resources and opportunities for active duty, veterans, military spouses, and children.
And we need to start preparing and thinking in that fashion and a leadership model that's going to be meaningful for the veterans to make a proper transition where they're not out and homeless. I mean, that's one of the other trends that is going on within our community. And by and large, the two reasons why veterans commit suicide, and this isn't talked about in the media. It's not.
Warriors, fall in. It's time for formation. Thank you for joining us today.
All right.
Today, we're very fortunate to have a guest who is an Army veteran, a published author, a self-proclaimed veteran mentor. Let me see here. I'm trying to get my comments pulled up. I can't see them. And I know I have comments because I've seen some. I just went online and I saw the comments. All right. Where are the comments? That's strange. Well, I'm going to monitor it from my phone. Okay. So now, after I've kind of, you can see where. Let me see if I can hear. Oh, watching myself live.
Going on within our community, and by and large, the two reasons why veterans commit suicide, and this isn't talked about in the media. It's not.
Warriors, fall in. It's time for. Okay, so intro, little clip here. Now I have to pick out what music do I want to put in the beginning. I will put music in the very beginning of these things. And I don't know. I have a whole bunch of different audio tracks that I can use. A whole bunch of different audio tracks I can use. And I just have to pick one. Let's see which one. My computer is lagging so bad right now. It's hating every part of this whole thing. So I'm going to put this off screen because it's really lagging over here. And I'm going to pick a piece of audio music that I'm going to put in the very beginning of this thing. So typically, let's see, find one that kind of fits what we're doing here, what we're talking about. Challenges is, let's see what this one sounds like here. Oh, I don't like that one already. Sounds good. A little too dramatic for me. Try something else really quick here. looking for a short audio to put behind my beginning hook. In the military, you're given a uniform and instructed on how to. I don't like any of these. Let me try this one. This one's called Take Me to the Depths. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this to where it's just going to be for this part over here. So let's zoom in and scroll back and find that sweet spot of right there. So let's take a listen on this. Usually on these, I have to drop this down to about, I think, 21, just to make it below the actual audio itself. Sometimes I'll actually run the whole audio through the actual introduction itself, So you'll hear the hook, and then you'll hear me come on, say who's the guest for today, and then up until the part where they start talking, that's where I'll drop the audio, and this is how I do that. So this is what it sounds like.
Children.
And we need to start preparing and thinking in that fashion in a leadership model that's going to be meaningful for the veterans to make a proper transition where they're not out and homeless. I mean, you know, that's one of the other trends that is going on within our community. And by and large, the two reasons why veterans commit suicide, and this isn't talked about in the media. It's not.
Warriors, fall in. It's time for formation. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're very fortunate to have a guest who is an Army veteran, a published author, a self-proclaimed veteran mentor, an actor, and is currently serving as a senior director of veteran services for his company. Most importantly, and the reason that we have him here today, is to discuss the trends and the pulse of what's happening today in the career transition market with our military veterans. But before we get, I'd like to introduce our podcast assistant and co-host, Avi. Avi, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, KP.
So we have John Lehman joining us today, and he is positioned as a senior director for veteran services at Intellectual Point, which is an educational platform company focused in IT training, consulting, and workforce development. John reached out to me this week because he's been noticing some developments and trends within the transition of many military veterans seeking careers after the military. So we want to just get into it and start digging into what these trends are and what's going on with the transition of our military veterans. So John, thank you for joining us on the Morning Formation podcast today.
I really appreciate you having me, so thank you.
Yeah, so typically have it fade out like that. And you saw how I just dropped that end. Pretty simple. That's why I love the Hindenburg, which is a horrible name for a audio platform. The Hindenburg went down in flames. So anyway, I don't know why they decided that. So simply put, I just want to double check and make sure that I have that place correct.
Spouses and children.
And we need to start preparing and thinking in that fashion in a leadership model that's going to transition for the vet. That's going to be.
Move that just up a little bit. Oops. I hate when it does that. I don't use these markers because they typically will cut. All right.
Spouses and children.
And we need to start preparing and thinking where they're not out and homeless. I mean, that's one of the other trends that is going on within our
and what's going on with the transition of our military veterans. So, John, thank you for joining us on the Morning Formation podcast today.
I really appreciate you having me, so thank you.
Perfect. Then I just do a quick visual of everything, making sure everything's lined up properly, because I did move some things around, right? If you've been watching since the beginning, I started out with the three top blue lines, which is each audio separated tracks, I should say. So John goes on a talk thing here, and then just want to double check this real quick.
And say, hey, what's this? What does this mean to you?
That's something we talk about on this podcast a lot. Now, just for some context, when did you transition out of the military?
Everything looks like it's lined up fairly good. So I'm just going to hope that everything is good to go and just export this. And then from there, I'll upload it to Buzzsprout, and then I will listen to it before it's actually published. This specific episode probably will not be published till the end of December, early January. So simple. All I'm going to do right now is I'm going to export. And that's simple. So that's how I edit, and I put the finishing touches on the audio. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, but it's well worth it. Once it's done, it's done. And I will send this out to John Lehman, usually about 4 or 5 days before. Publishing it, just to get his approval and everything. So that's that. Just wanted to show that, and actually wanted to test out some of my different templates that I have. So if you get a chance, comment. Let me know what you think about the templates. If they suck, what do I need to change? This is the solo one. This is just me by myself. And this is if I have a guest. And this is if I have 3 guests. Voila. Beautiful. All right, so takes a little bit of time to create those templates and get them all set up, but looks like the actual audio is done now. And that's it. Save and close. And go ahead and drop it into the new thing. Then from here, I have to create the show notes. I have to put all the links for this specific guest on there as well. Make sure those are all correct. And then I send it to them. And about 5 days prior to the actual publishing, I will start creating the marketing on my Instagram. And I've been putting that on the Facebook and LinkedIn as well. And I've just started doing TikTok too. So doing my best to try to get the word out. If you know any veterans out there who might be interested in certifications or educational information, let them know about the Morning Formation podcast and let them know about actnoweducation. They're my partner company. They got me up and running in the very beginning when I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm better off now than I was then. So at any rate, I hope everyone's doing well. If you get a chance, add me to Instagram, the Morning Formation podcast, TikTok as well, and the Facebook business page, and check out my website, www.themorningformation.com. Maybe next time I'll get into why I call this the Morning Formation. Some of you in the military might already understand, might already know, but there is a reason why I named it this specific name and not anything else. With that being said, that's it. Thank you if you were watching the whole time. I don't think I had anyone watching the whole time, but I appreciate you guys dropping in and giving me the likes and the comments. I wasn't able to see the comments until later, until just now, actually. So, but with that being said, hope everyone's doing well. Vince, I see you. What's up, bro? Haven't seen you in a long time. Hope you're holding it down over there in OHIO. But at any rate, if you guys get a chance, let me know what you think about the templates that I have, and hopefully I can do more streaming. And from here on out, I'm going to start bringing on some different guests to talk about military veteran type stuff. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night.